Ramp. Oh, now I'm chasing you. What? Yeah,
that's not
that's
fair.
right. That's right.
Oh, hey, we didn't see you there.
How does this keep happening to us?
No, I really think it's all your fault.
But I don't understand how it's my fault.
Well, screwing up is what you do best.
Well, yeah, that's not.
Let's just start the show. Hey there, everyone. My buddy Taylor and I are making our triumphant return with WFL, and boy, what a game we've got to talk about.
That's right, Kyle. The Knights' season was on the line last week. Another loss would all but end their chances for a second consecutive Iowa Conference crown, while a win would vault them right back to the top of the standings.
And facing the undefeated 20th-ranked Spartans of Dubuque, the Knights faced a tall order, but Willis and the gang proved to be more than up to the task. Let's roll the highlights. Coach Willis is leading his troops into a battle against the undefeated Spartans, and Dubuque gets the ball first and fumbles it away on their first possession. A big scrum, and the Knights say they've got it. And they do, but Wartburg's unable to do anything. They have to punt it away. Dubuque gets the ball again, and James Spaulding takes the handoff around right end. He's going down the sideline for a big gain, finally brought down, but a couple plays later on that drive, Dubuque, Wyatt Hannes, that's the quarterback, would hook up with Miles Hookstead in the corner of the end zone. Taylor, what happened there?
Well, I think what you're seeing there, Kyle, is there really is no defense for a perfect pass. He puts it right on the numbers, and that's all you can ask for.
And there you see the Godfather getting ready to go back out, but Dubuque comes out again. They've got 4th and goal on the end zone, and they're not able to convert. The Knights D stands tall. Taylor, 4th down was kind of the story of this one.
Well, yeah, the Spartans went for it 5 times on 4th down of the day and didn't come up with any of them.
And that was the difference in the game. There you see Stiefel with a big head fake, and there's Helbling over the middle for the touchdown. We're all square at 7 after the extra point, and Stiefel, again, he's going to find Helbling over the middle. He rolls down to the 20-yard line right before half, and that sets up this touchdown pass from the Godfather to Kurt Haruska. You see him tap the feet in bounds. 14-7, Knights up at halftime. Taylor, what was the D able to do to hold the Spartans to just 7 points?
Well, I think they brought a lot of pressure. They ended up bringing a lot of pressure off the ends, which really didn't allow them a whole lot of time to pass and get their ball out to their playmakers.
And a 14-7, a very good score for the Knights at half, but Dubuque comes out of the half strong. Hannes finds Michael Zwiefel with what he does best, is catch touchdowns, and there it's 14-all. But the Godfather comes back again, Helbling over the middle. A big story in this game, Helbling over the middle. You see him. The Knights are up 21-14 after that, and Helbling's excited. But the Dubuque comes back strong. James Spaulding would punch in a 2-yard run, and then later in that same quarter, Spaulding takes it 57 yards to the house, and Dubuque is back on top with a 28-21 lead. But the Knights respond strong. That was the story in this one. Stiefel to Helbling. He shimmies and shakes his way down to the 5-yard line, and a couple plays later, the Godfather hands off to Dahlstrom. He pounds it in from 1 yard out, and it's all square at 28. Stiefel again finding Helbling over the middle. A big story in this one. Helbling with over 100 yards receiving, and later on that drive, the Godfather would pitch it out to Nesquik Brandon Sims, who's back from that injury. He rolls into the end zone, and the Knights are on top 35-28. And the Spartan, it's looking a little queasy for them, but Dubuque comes back with the field goal to make it 35-31. But Dahlstrom, again, having a huge game. You see him barely keep his feet in bounds. Down the sideline he goes, a 68-yard touchdown. Can't quite see it because our camera girl, Shelby Granath, is blocked, but the Knights lead 42-31. But Dubuque, again, comes back. Zwiefel catches the touchdown, but gets punished by McGrain. But after the 2-point conversion, it's 42-39. Wartburg would recover the onside kick. They're unable to run out the clock, but the defense stands tall on Dubuque's final possession. Time runs out on this one, and the Knights come away with a hugely important 42-39 victory, and things are all square at the top of the Iowa Conference. Now, after that big win, the Knights, as we said earlier, the conference is all square. 4 teams stand at 3-1. And Taylor, giving up 39 points does not look good for the defense, but they were able to come up with some big stops. As you mentioned in the highlights, 4th down was a big factor in this game. What were the Knights able to do to stop them on 4th down?
Well, I think it came down to a lot of preparation. At this point in the season, all the coaches have a lot of game tape to go through. I mean, you think back, Dubuque's played 5 other games up to this point, and also you get to look back to their last season's tendencies and the season before that. So we pretty much know what they're going to run in any given situation. It's just a matter of getting the right call in at the right time. Well, as we're going to take a look at this next tape, we knew what their tendency was down on the goal line. So they went for it on a fourth and short situation. We knew they were going to roll out. That's something we knew. So what we did to combat that is we have Matt Cheddar coming off the edge. So what he's going to do is he's going to squeeze the edge really hard here, and he's going to force a hard edge for this defense. Basically what that means is he's going to set it. So this is as far as the pocket goes. And then he has everything outside of that. So the quarterback, Haynes, is going to be rolling out this way, and he's going to have nowhere to go because Cheddar's going to be right there. And what does pressure do? Well, it causes problems. And so Haynes doesn't have time to set his feet and make a good throw. And on 4th down, you have to be accurate. I mean, it's 4th down. So 4th and goal, he tries to make something happen. There's not a lot there. He overthrows his tight end. We got good pressure there. And it's all around just a great play for the defense. From front to back, and you got good pressure, good coverage, and it really doesn't get any better than that.
And the defensive line making a big stand there, standing tall, but they weren't always so good. Dubuque did score 39 points after all. They rolled up 591 yards of offense.
That's hurt.
And a lot of that came on big plays, and we're going to see a long run from James Spalding, who had 196 yards in the game. What happened on this play here?
Well, we had a lot of injuries, as we know. So what happened on this play is we had an injury at the strong safety position, David Brooks. So he usually comes up and he plays right in here. He's a very smart player. And so he's actually responsible on this play for the B gap. So if anything cuts back, he's supposed to be there waiting for it. Well, we have a younger guy in there who didn't get as many reps throughout the week. Maybe hasn't seen as much reps throughout the season because Brooks plays pretty much every snap. He doesn't get there, and it cuts back, and he has all the room to run in the world. And so it's one of those where injuries and inexperience really hurt us in terms of responsibility football, which is what the Knights are really all about.
And, you mentioned that inexperience, so we're going to see, I think, a longer pass here that Dubuque is able to execute that. I think the inexperience came in again, not to pick on this guy. He looks like he's got a lot of talent. He's got some great speed, I think you'll see on that play, and a lot of potential, but just another reason where another time where Dubuque was able to pick on that inexperience in the sophomore.
And the thing is, it's not, and it's experience and inexperience mixed in the same play, because as we pause on this next play, what's supposed to happen here is McGrain is supposed to be over the top, and then the younger safety is supposed to play underneath where not a whole lot more is going on, but they know Michael Zwiefel, he's a speedster. He's their everything. You have to double him. Well, what's happens is McGrain's supposed to come over the top and roll this way. He goes down under, and our safety over here, he gets burnt because he's fading the wrong way, doesn't know the play call, and Zwiefel gets beat there. Lays a nice licking on him, but Zwiefel does make the catch. I mean, it's a very nice pitch and catch by the Spartans. I don't want to take anything away from that, but if you put yourself in a position to be successful with guys who have been there, that's not a completion. In fact, it's probably an interception going the other way.
And I think, as we mentioned, that potentially you saw some great closing speed from that safety there. He's only a sophomore. I think will be a player that the Knights will really rely on as he gets older in the season. But one thing when we talked to Coach Winter earlier this week was how Dubuque was really on schedule earlier in the game, and how one thing you want to do as a defense is knock them off schedule, get them into 2nd and long and 3rd and long, so it's not as easy to convert that. And they were able to come up with some sacks later in the game to knock them back into long-range situations. What happened on some of these plays that they were able to sack Wyatt Hunt?
Well, especially on the last drive where the Spartans were really pressed for time, and so when they eventually scored that touchdown to make it 42-39, there was very little time left on the clock. Well, that was because the Knights were able to create pressure, which ended up in sacks, which is about all you can ask for from a defense. And so as we roll this next clip, we're going to see a very easy blitz to run that's very effective, especially against a team like Dubuque. So what basically happens here is you got the DN burying the tackle down, and that's going to leave a huge gap here because we got our D tackle chased down inside, and the offensive tackle went with him. And so this creates this huge gap. 2 guys, 2 defenders on 1 back, who notoriously are not great blockers. And so you got 2 linebackers coming at 1 running back. A tall order for anybody. So what happens here, our outside linebacker comes up, our Jason Shupp, our middle linebacker, comes in, he makes the sack, and it's all because of a great design play call by Chris Winter, and also knowing down and distance. I mean, in that play, it was 2nd and very long, which made it third and even longer. And so it set the Spartans back behind schedule, as we talked about.
And in that third and long play we talked to Winter, the Knights were actually able to come up with another sack on a very similar play and not force the Spartans to punt. And one note we should make about Jason Shupp there, he played a huge game. He was named one of the D3 football performers of the week, came up with 13 tackles, 3 sacks, and 4 tackles for loss. He played himself a ball game, and he's one of the big reasons the Knights were able to come up with victory, I think.
Yep, and he's one of those players that's kind of replacing the Blake Suko that we had for a couple of years. A very smart linebacker, maybe not the biggest guy out there, but he's quick and he knows where he's supposed to be.
And a big reason on the season that the Knights are 5-1 so far. And don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and we're going to have all the analysis of the offensive side of the ball as well as a look ahead to what the Knights are going to try to do against Simpson, so stay tuned. Welcome back to WFL. Taylor and I are getting down and dirty here, ready to really get into the crux of the show, breaking down some more film from the Knights game against Dubuque. And we're on the offensive side of the ball now, and they put up 42 points, had
That's a lot
of success. And you know, Taylor, you mentioned that Michael Zweifel was an all-everything type of player, and that also means he's playing defense for the Spartans after they got toasted for a whole lot of passing yards earlier in the season. And I think Matt Wheeler and the offense were able to exploit that a little bit on some plays, the fact that he's not really a true defender. So how exactly were they able to do that?
Well, we talked to him earlier in the week when they were kind of designing their game plan, and we knew that they were going to try to go after and make him tired because, in all honesty, he's not a true D-back. It's not what he's trained to do. He's a receiver, and he's a very good one. But he's honestly their best all-around athletic player on their team. So they're trying to find places to make him successful. So we're going to take a look at the tape. We're going to see exactly what Wheeler did to try to go right after Zweifel. So what we can see here is the Knights ran basically a split route. So they had 2 receivers down here. One's going to go inside, one's going to go outside. That's going to make Zweifel make a decision. And he's sitting right over here. Well, what he does is nothing, which is the kind of the worst thing he can do. He doesn't commit anywhere. He just sits right in the middle, hoping he can react. Well, once those receivers get far enough away from each other, he can't react to anything. And so Kurt Haruska gets out here. This is right before half. He gets out here, gets around the safety, past the corner around the safety. Zweifel's too late. And what a good safety would have done there, a safety that had been trained in being a safety, has come up and laid a hit on Haruska trying to displace that ball. But Zweifel was late, and he's really not that physical. He's more of a finesse guy, and so he's not looking to hit anybody. So if he can come up with a pick, great, but in terms of jarring a ball loose, that's not his job.
And one of the things we talked about, Matt Wheeler, was I think he was okay with Zweifel laying a hit on one of his guys because, you know, maybe he comes up from that play a little banged up.
Yep.
And that makes the defense's job a whole lot easier if you don't have to defend him. And Connor Dahlstrom in this one had a huge game. He had over 200 yards, his second big game in a row. He had that one against Cornell 2 weeks ago, and now this. And he just seems to get better and better as the game goes on. He's one of those power, physical guys that just wears the defense down. And he had that long touchdown run in the fourth quarter, I believe it was, to kind of ice the game almost. What was he able to do on that play to get away from the defense?
Now this is what I'm excited for because Connor Dahlstrom, great back, don't get me wrong. The line did this for him. They created every single play. So we'll roll this next clip. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So we have an offset I formation. We're going to pause it here. What we're going to see is a zone block scheme. So that means everybody is going down and trying to get out in front. So this is actually our tackle. He started out over here. He's getting up the field trying to get to the second level. Our guards hitting this guy here, the center getting up the field, and then we got these guys trying to get up the field, taking care of their guys first, getting a chip. So it's a kind of a speed play, get to the outside. And so what that does is create everything going this way. And then our guys are just able to leave the lineman in the dust because Connor's fast enough to get around some fat linemen. And he's going to get going around the corner. And then as we get going here, we're going to see he makes a couple of plays, makes a miss. And by that point, we're up to the second and third levels, and they've got nobody left.
And one thing we didn't see on that, kind of out of frame, but the fullback, Alex Covington, we haven't mentioned his name a whole lot. He made a terrific block on a corner or a safety out there, took out his legs, and Dahlstrom had plenty of room to run on that right side.
Well, in talking, I was down at practice today, actually. You know, it's one of those things where Covington is becoming more and more of part of this offense. He's kind of taken over that Mitch Blythe role from a couple of years ago. That H-back, kind of a fullback, kind of a tight end, but he's kind of evolving into that role. So look for him to get more involved as the season goes on.
And, you know, we mentioned earlier how they were picking on Zweifel. And, you know, if you throw it at a guy a lot, eventually he's going to win one of the battles. And Zweifel did come up with an interception later in this game. And what exactly happened on this play?
Well, no, and I was very excited to see them go after Zweifel because he's not going to make every play. And you can't be scared to throw at a guy. You know, you remember from the Nnamdi Asomugha when he played for the Raiders, nobody would ever throw at him. A great corner, but he never got any action. And that's what teams have been doing to Zweifel. They just haven't been going to their receiver. Well, that shuts down a third of your offense. But as we're going to roll this next clip, Zweifel is proud enough of his arm and proud enough of his receivers to know that he can still throw that way. So what's going to happen here, we're going to pause it here. Dan Stiefel in a 7-step drop. He's going to throw out to a hitch route, like a 12-yard hitch, and Zweifel is playing corner. Well, he's playing way off, but he's so quick and so good at just picking little things up that he's going to break back towards the ball. Now, if our receiver breaks back to the ball, this isn't a problem. He makes the catch and we have a 9-yard game. Nothing to turn a nose at. But Zweifel, being very athletic, is going to come up and make a very athletic interception, and that's going to be 1st and 10 for the Spartans.
Coming up after the break, Taylor here sat down with Connor Dahlstrom, who's been having a huge couple of games, just to find out what he's been able to do to have so much success on the season. And our correspondent, Shelby Granath, did the same with the Godfather, Dan Stiefel. So don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss it. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back to WFL. My partner, Taylor Umlin, sat down with Connor Dahlstrom this past week. So let's roll that package right now and see what Dahlstrom has to say.
Connor Dahlstrom began this year looking up from the bottom of the depth chart, but he never stopped working, and now it is all paying off. With injuries to the top 2 running backs, it was Connor's time to step up. In the past 2 games, Connor has racked up 386 yards on the ground and 5 touchdowns. But what does he attribute his recent successes to?
Linemen are the key to the run game. Linemen give you opportunities. They're the ones that battle in the trenches for you to allow you to make plays.
You know, football is it's a crazy game, and over time, different things happen, and through the course of the season, you know, you never know when your time's going to get called and when your number's going to get called. And we had all the faith in the world that when it was Connor's, number, that heck yeah, we'll put him in there. Let's go.
The 5'11", 180-pound junior was the player of the year in the Mississippi Athletic Conference his senior year of high school, but found the college game a tough transition. But now, with 2 years under his belt, Connor is making the most of the opportunity while making strides in his game.
Definitely his instinct. I think he sees things a little differently than some other guys sometimes, and he's quick. He's proven that he's durable as well, and that's also something that has value.
But no matter the kind of success he has, Connor continues to believe in the team concept.
The friendship and the unity that we have between all teammates and each other. We're all friends here. We all get along great, and that's why we work hard together as one.
And now Shelby Granath is going to find out what it's like to run the mob as she goes inside the mind of the Godfather, Dan Stiefel.
Danny Stiefel under center. Nice looking to pick up a first down. Back to pass Stiefel. Throws it down the field. Has a receiver. Helbling with the catch and a first down for Wartburg in Rams territory at the 38.
For senior quarterback Danny Stiefel, Wartburg has not always been his home. He attended 2 other colleges before transferring to Wartburg his junior year.
He's been a great fit here from a variety of different standpoints. He's obviously performed well on the field, but he's also meshed very well with our guys.
The 2010 season was a very successful one for Stiefel and the Knights as they went 10-1 overall.
Once we were winning, it was kind of nice because if I was losing, then people would be like, wow, is he really that good? Is he worth playing? But I was winning, so everyone was behind me, and it was kind of nice. I didn't have to worry about any criticism.
In his first season as a Knight, Stiefel passed for over 2,000 yards and had 12 touchdowns. He also had 6 rushing touchdowns himself.
Back to pass, Danny Stiefel. 3 steps, now he'll step up and run. 25, 30, 25, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, and all the way to the 35-yard line as Danny Stiefel found the opening, and he took off.
Danny's passion for the game of football started at a very young age.
Started playing tackle football when I was 8 years old, and I really wanted to be a running back when I was younger. But my dad told me, no, you're not fast enough.
Luckily, Danny's lack of speed has worked in his favor. With only 5 games under his belt so far this season, Stiefel already has 1,148 passing yards and 6 touchdowns. So how would Danny describe himself as a player?
Say I'm more of a pro-style quarterback. I'm not really one that's just going to run around all over the place. I'm just going to sit back in the pocket and throw the ball.
He's a pretty traditional pocket passer. I say he has a strong arm and he throws the deep ball better than most. His movement is good enough to get him out of trouble and keep things alive and give us a chance to make a play when maybe something breaks down.
According to Coach Willis, Stiefel is very coachable, and he is definitely the type of player a coach wants on a team.
He brings leadership, confidence, ability. He's an outstanding passer, and I think he brings integrity. He's a guy that we're proud to have in our program, and I think is a good representative of what we're doing.
Even though Stiefel has only been a Knight for 2 seasons, he is still able to come up with a favorite memory.
Last year when we beat Central College to win the IAC conference, when we had that 90-yard drive to win the game basically, and then our defense blocked a field goal at the end to win it, that was probably the best memory.
Coach Willis, on the other hand, does not have a favorite memory of Danny.
Hopefully that favorite memory is going to happen here in the next 6 weeks.
And at the end of the day,
we feel fortunate that it worked out for him to be here, and I think hopefully when it's all said and done, it will have been kind of a win-win situation, something that's been good for Wartburg football and something that's been good, for Danny Stiefel.
And coming up in just a couple of minutes here on WFL, it's everybody's favorite segment making its triumphant return. What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
Well, I think our morale is good. The game on Saturday certainly took a lot of energy. We expended a tremendous effort and a lot of energy over there, and sustained some more injuries that we're still trying to recover from here as the week goes on. I think at the same time they understand that there's a lot of work ahead of us yet.
Going back to the Dubuque game for a second, is that just one of the most exciting games you've been involved in coaching just in your career?
Really, I've thought about that. I can't really remember being in a game that was any more back and forth, any more momentum swings than what we experienced in that game. And obviously, when you find a way to win a game like that, it's a lot of fun. Those are terribly difficult type games to not win, and I think the biggest thing probably about it was to have it happen in that type of a game where there was really a lot riding on the outcome, and in a setting where where the other team really had a lot of momentum, had a large crowd, had their homecoming, had all those things that seemingly would be working against you, and for our team to find a way to win and then in the fashion that the game played out, it's going to be one of those games I think that everybody will remember.
With homecoming coming up this week, how much of a motivating factor is it to have kind of that event going on?
Well, I think the biggest thing probably from a player standpoint is just that it's going to create a great atmosphere to play in. And the second thing I think is just, that them respecting the past and what the tradition in the past at Wartburg means, and wanting to do their part to make homecoming as successful as it can be.
Welcome back to WFL. Taylor, we've got a big homecoming game coming up against the Simpson Storm. Simpson, only a 2-4 team on the year, but kind of a sneaky team that can catch you by surprise. How do you see this one playing out on homecoming?
No bones about it. The Knights are going to come out with a victory in this one. They no hangover from that Dubuque game. Simpson is not great. They used to be. Believe me, they've had some athletes in the past. I think last year they had this kind of a scat back. But he's graduated. They do have a slightly running quarterback, but not as good. It's going to be a lot like the Cornell game. I don't think the Knights are going to completely run away with it, but I wouldn't be surprised with a 21 to 28 point spread in this one.
That's a big victory. That would certainly make all those orange-clad supporters happy, the football team. They're looking for an orange out there at Walston Hoover Stadium. The homecoming theme is Got Orange, so looking for a lot of orange-dressed people.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that theme. I went to go buy a homecoming shirt today, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, nope, I don't want that.
Where's your school spirit?
Right here in this show. That's where it's at.
Thanks for joining us here on WFL. As always, special thanks to Kelsey Bemis and Danny Billett, who helped make this show possible. So join us next week, Friday. See you later.
We'll do this again. How about it?
Boy, what a game do we have to talk about.
Oh, that's right, Kyle. The Knights season was on the line last week. Another loss would end up ending their season for the second.
You're terrible at what you do. Go back up.
Sorry, I didn't write this. Okay, this is my first time ever seeing this. I apologize.
Coming up on WFL, Taylor here will take us with a package. What the hell do I want to say? I'm terrible at this. I've never messed these effing T's.
You want me to do this? You want us to send us the break, or are you going to figure it out?
I'll figure it out. All right. 3, 2. Coming. God, clap.